Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time around, we're taking a step squarely in the direction of Spooky Town with Soundless Mound, and this is a pretty obvious homage. I mean, if you think about it, Soundless Mound, Soundless, Silent Mound, Hill of Dirt, Silent Hill! There you go! You figured it out. I knew you'd get there eventually. I knew my viewers were just, on the ball, smart cookies, and yes, that is what this mod is seeking to emulate, especially the atmosphere, the vibe, and just the sheer unease that comes with playing through a Silent Hill game, but in Doom, which is awesome. For those of you out there that have never, ever touched a Silent Hill game, the key aspects that you need to bear in mind is that most of the doors are locked, and one way or another, everything suddenly gets supernaturally rusty. Also, really ineffectual combat, and that's by design. The protagonists of Silent Hill games are typically average Joes who wouldn't know how to swing a 2x4 if it was suddenly dropped in their hands. And the same thing kind of goes here in Soundless Mound. Even though I have a knife, you've really got to put some beans into it to actually deal an extra bit of damage to your enemy. Holding down mouse 1, in fact, does charge up the attack. You got to listen out for a little bit of a grunt from your character, and then you can deal a crit, so to speak. But yes, if I were to describe the pacing of Soundless Mound, I would definitely describe it as fairly slow-paced. It's most assuredly not a mod for those of you after a fast-paced, high-octane, immediate experience. Instead, this is a mod that rewards patience and being thorough with your environment. Despite the fact that many doors are locked, a fair few of them are also open, and thorough exploration will grant you access to save points, such as this ominous red tile on the wall, extra supplies such as medical kits, and occasionally keys that you will need in order to progress. Coming back to the subject of intentional clunkiness, another aspect of Soundless Mound that you may find awkward to get to grips with is how the inventory works, and everything here is accessed through the inventory, be it your weapons or your healing items. Thankfully, when it comes to special use, those items are used automatically, but when it comes to combat and healing, you're going to have to make sure you have the right thing prepared in the inventory box, which if you squint, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner before you can use it. Now, the effect of this is that occasionally this system can catch you quite off guard. You can get a little too complacent, blunder into a new area, and suddenly find yourself quite unprepared to deal with what Soundless Mound is throwing at you, leading to some frantic button mashing as you try to organize the item you want to use in your inventory, hopefully in time to prevent something very angry from ripping your face off. The choice to take advantage of the sound design of Silent Hill in this mod is also a very inspired choice, because the sound design of those original games is part of what makes them work so well in terms of generating this profound sense of unease in your gut, making you legitimately dread what may be through the next door or around the next corner. But really, the true genius for me in those games, and what they get right here in Soundless Mound, is that sometimes there isn't anything around the next corner. Sometimes the next room you visit is perfectly safe, until of course it isn't safe anymore. But therein lies the rub. Therein lies the hook. It keeps you on edge, it keeps you anxious, and then when you do have to finally deal with an enemy, you're acutely aware that, well, it ain't gonna be exactly pretty. Combat takes patience, takes timing, and ultimately takes a little bit of forethought later on down the line as well. You may have noticed that at this point I have access to a gun, which is very useful in certain circumstances. The Pinky here, for example, has much more health than the Imp enemy, and 4 bullets is more than enough to take it down, but this is a mod that makes you think, what am I gonna have to use these bullets on next? Am I gonna have enough of them? And it is a bit of a niggling doubt, but one that I unfortunately don't feel that Soundless Mound truly capitalizes on. Basically, resources are far too plentiful. They're easily available with a minor bit of exploration, and it's not going to take very long in Soundless Mound before you are overflowing with medical supplies and bullets if you're even reasonably sensible with how you use them. You'll find you will have more than enough to make your way through what's available of this mod so far. And I feel that does detract a little from the overall experience, because a cornerstone of the horror game, at least the classic horror game in my opinion, is the little oh shit moment when you realize you're not really gonna have enough bullets to take down a particular enemy quickly, that you're gonna have to resort to a little bit more old school bludgeoning. Now, just for reference, this was my experience playing on normal difficulty, something that describes it as the way it was meant to be played. And it does make me quite curious to revisit this on the higher difficulty just to see if that rectifies that particular issue for me, because on every other count, Soundless Mound is absolutely exceptional. If I have to pin down one overarching thing that I just tremendously enjoy about Soundless Mound, and to a greater extent enjoy about the Silent Hill games in general, at the very least 1, 2, and 3, is just the sensation of reality breaking down. The further you push through, the more things just crumble and decay, and every bit of progress you make, every level deeper you get into this world, feels like you're breaking some ancient rule that was made for a very, very good reason. And it's that wonderful sense of curiosity mixed with dread that powers those games, and most assuredly powers Soundless Mound. Altogether, everything that's on display here in this version of Soundless Mound makes me very excited for the prospect of future versions of this mod, because believe it or not, this is just a demo version, and if this is anything to go by, the fuller version will be something rather impressive indeed. So yeah, sign me up for that one, please. I am there with bells on. Now, normally I'd delve into a few more bits and pieces in a mod such as this, but I feel like I've already shown enough. In fact, too much, if I'm gonna be honest, because ideally this is a mod best experienced knowing as little as possible, which puts me in a little bit of an awkward position. But in any case, if you're interested in this one, make sure you close those curtains, turn off those lights, put on a nice comfy pair of headphones, and get yourself thoroughly immersed in this wonderful homage to Silent Hill. Oh, it would probably be a good idea if you knew where to get a hold of the mod as well, wouldn't it? Well, to that end, you can find the link, as usual, in the description below. While I'm at it, I'd like to give a great big thank you to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so very much for supporting the channel and for helping to make content like this possible. If you're interested in lending a hand, maybe you'd like to see your name in the credits, or maybe you'd like to gain early access to new editions of Doom Mod Madness, well, in either case, you can find the link to my Patreon page also in the description below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments, and feel free to suggest any mods you'd like to see me cover in future episodes of Doom Mod Madness. This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.